Singer Justin Timberlake says that he's been diagnosed with Lyme disease.
So if I get jealous, I can't help it.
My husband's old t-shirts, actually, that I stole from him 20 years ago, probably. Not that.
The phone rings. I hope that is you on the other side. Wanna tell you everything.
That he'd been feeling a massive amount of nerve pain and, quote, crazy fatigue or sickness while he was performing.
But I can't help it. I want every bit of you. I guess I'm selfish.
At one point, Justin Timberlake was the definition of a pop icon. He had the looks, the charm, and the hits. From boy band breakout to chart-dominating solo artist, he played the game perfectly, or so it seemed. But fast forward to today, and the story sounds different. Headlines talk about public backlash, viral concert flops, tone-deaf interviews, and scandals that never really went away. Justin isn't just being ignored, he's being reassessed. And many are asking, did Justin Timberlake's career fall apart because of one misstep? Or was it a pattern finally catching up to him? Was it his treatment of Britney Spears? The Janet Jackson Super Bowl fiasco? That awkward All Lives Matter-esque moment during the height of Black Lives Matter? Or maybe it was that one baffling pivot with Man of the Woods. In this video, we're unpacking how one of the biggest stars of the 2000s managed to lose control of his legacy, why fans turned, critics pounced, and Justin Timberlake went from golden boy to cultural cautionary tale. Because in 2025, stardom alone isn't enough. Accountability matters more than ever. Long before solo stardom, Justin Timberlake's fame began with a headset mic, synchronized dance moves, and millions of screaming fans. As a founding member of NSYNC, he was introduced to the world as part of a new wave of boy bands that dominated late 90s pop culture. Alongside J.C. Chases, Lance Bass, Joey Fatone, and Chris Kirkpatrick, Justin quickly became the standout, by design or default. But the machine behind NSYNC knew what they were doing. Justin wasn't just one of 5 voices, he was the image. The industry favored his look, his hair, his smile, and charisma. He was marketed as the group's star, long before he had a solo album to prove it. Even in the early days, media focus gravitated toward Justin. He got more interviews, more solos, more magazine covers. By the time NSYNC hit their peak with albums like No Strings Attached, it was clear who the breakout was. For fans, it felt organic. But behind the scenes, it was branding. The music industry had picked its Prince of Pop and was paving his way to go solo. In any other group, J.C. Chases would have been the star. His vocal range was stronger, his performances tighter, and his command of harmonies undeniable. Many fans and critics recognized J.C. as the real vocal powerhouse of NSYNC. But in the spotlight, it was always Justin Timberlake who stood front and center. That's not to say Justin wasn't talented, he was. But in the eyes of the media machine, talent alone wasn't enough. It was about optics. Justin had the boyish charm, the curly blonde hair, the charisma, and crucially, the backing of key music executives. He photographed well, interviewed well, and fit the narrative of what a pop star should look like in the early 2000s. This wasn't just a chance, it was strategic. From wardrobe to camera angles to who sang what, every detail was fine-tuned to elevate Justin's profile. J.C., though arguably more gifted vocally, was gradually pushed aside. The industry had made its pick. And Justin, with the right look, the right timing, and the right people behind him, became the face of the brand, while J.C. quietly faded into obscurity. With the stage already set, Justin Timberlake's solo debut felt less like a gamble and more like a coronation. His 2002 album Justified showcased a new sound, a fusion of pop, R&B, and hip-hop that immediately separated him from his boy band past. Produced by heavy hitters like Timbaland and Pharrell Williams, the album gave birth to hits like Cry Me a River and Rock Your Body, cementing Justin's place as a legitimate solo artist. Critics praised the maturity in his music, and fans embraced the evolution. Timberlake wasn't just appealing to teenage girls anymore. He was gaining credibility among adults and industry peers. He was cool, edgy, and for the first time, widely respected. By the time Future Sex / Love Sounds dropped in 2006, Justin wasn't riding momentum, he was controlling it. Tracks like Sexy Back and My Love became cultural phenomena. His collaborations with Black producers and his bold adoption of R&B aesthetics made him a crossover king. But while many celebrated his reinvention, others questioned whether he was borrowing too heavily from Black culture, a tension that would quietly follow him throughout his entire career. Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears were pop royalty, America's golden couple of the early 2000s. Their relationship was splashed across every magazine and red carpet, shaping a generation's idea of love in the spotlight. But when they broke up in 2002, everything changed, especially for Britney. Justin released Cry Me a River, complete with a Britney lookalike in the music video, strongly implying infidelity. The public devoured the drama. Britney was villainized while Justin was applauded for channeling heartbreak into art. But the subtext was louder than the lyrics. He had turned their breakup into his own professional breakthrough. It didn't stop there. In interviews, Justin made suggestive comments about their intimacy, while Britney remained mostly silent. The imbalance was glaring. He capitalized on her image, while she bore the brunt of media harassment and shaming. Years later, amid Britney's conservatorship revelations and a shifting cultural tide, fans began reevaluating the fallout. Justin issued a public apology in 2021, but for many, it came too late. The damage had already been done, and his rise was now permanently linked to her very public fall. If there was one moment that crystallized Justin Timberlake's privilege, it was the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show. Sharing the stage with Janet Jackson, what should have been a career highlight became a career-altering controversy. The infamous wardrobe malfunction, in which Justin tore part of Janet's costume, exposing her breast on live television, dominated headlines and sparked national outrage. But the aftermath was anything but equal. Janet Jackson was blacklisted, her music pulled from radio, her appearances canceled, her career momentum halted. Meanwhile, Justin issued a brief apology and quietly distanced himself. He faced no long-term consequences and even returned to headline the Super Bowl in 2018. To many, this was the turning point that revealed a stark double standard in how the entertainment industry treats black women versus white men. Justin's ability to sidestep accountability, while Janet paid the price, became a cultural flashpoint. Years later, Justin would again apologize, saying he failed to stand up for Janet when it mattered most. But for her fans, the damage wasn't just personal, it was systemic. And Justin's silence back then still echoes today. After dominating the charts for nearly a decade, Justin Timberlake seemed untouchable. But then came the 2020 Experience, an ambitious two-part album that, while initially praised, signaled a shift. The songs were long, indulgent, and far from the tight pop structure fans had come to expect. Some loved the experimentation, but others found it self-important. Still, that wasn't the real turning point. That came in 2018 with Man of the Woods, a confusing, genre-blending attempt to tap into Americana. Timberlake, who had long profited from black music and culture, suddenly leaned into his southern roots with flannel, earthy tones, and vague nods to rustic masculinity. Fans and critics were puzzled. The album felt like a departure not just from pop, but from authenticity. Many interpreted it as an awkward attempt to rebrand himself away from the urban influences that built his career. The music lacked edge, and the rollout felt tone-deaf. For the first time, Justin wasn't innovating, he was retreating. The failure of Man of the Woods wasn't just musical, it exposed a deeper identity crisis. Who was Justin Timberlake without borrowed culture? In recent years, that shine has started to fade. By 2025, concertgoers began sharing viral clips of Justin's performances that told a different story. He looked tired, his vocals were shaky, and the energy that once defined his shows was noticeably absent. Fans reported low-effort choreography, missed notes, and even visible confusion on stage. The backlash was swift, many demanded refunds, and some questioned whether he still had the passion for performing at all. Critics chalked it up to age, but others pointed to deeper issues. Justin hadn't evolved his stagecraft. While peers like Beyoncé or Usher kept pushing boundaries, Justin seemed stuck in nostalgia. His once glittering stage presence had dulled, replaced by half-hearted throwbacks and underwhelming visuals that lacked innovation. In the court of public opinion, the decline wasn't just physical, it felt symbolic. The man who once set the standard for modern pop performance was now struggling to meet it himself. Justin Timberlake's polished image took a major hit in the 2020s, when personal scandals began making headlines instead of chart-topping hits. In 2019, he was photographed holding hands with his co-star Alicia Wainwright while filming a movie in New Orleans, despite being married to actress Jessica Biel. Though he later apologized publicly and claimed it was a lapse in judgment, the damage to his reputation lingered. Things only got worse in 2024, when Justin was arrested for DUI. The story spread like wildfire. A pop superstar who once seemed untouchable now in handcuffs. Fans were shocked. Critics weren't. They saw it as part of a larger pattern of privilege, deflection, and poor accountability. Even his apology tour felt stale. Statements were carefully worded, damage control was obvious, and public sympathy was thin. The media no longer treated him as a golden boy. The public, once fiercely loyal, had grown skeptical. These incidents didn't just hurt his brand, they revealed cracks in the facade. Justin Timberlake wasn't just aging out of pop culture. He was also unraveling under the weight of his own contradictions. Justin Timberlake once stood as a symbol of modern pop success. He transitioned from boy band heartthrob to cultural icon, seemingly without a hitch. But as the decades passed, the foundation of that legacy began to fracture. Critics now argue that Justin rose in an industry that protected him, from the fallout with Britney to the Super Bowl scandal with Janet, from profiting off black culture to escaping scrutiny when others couldn't. His charm masked entitlement, and his silence spoke volumes during pivotal cultural moments. His attempts at reinvention have largely fallen flat. Younger audiences view him more as a relic than a relevant force. Even longtime fans struggle to reconcile their admiration with growing disillusionment. As pop culture embraces accountability and authenticity, Justin Timberlake finds himself out of sync with the moment. He's no longer just the guy who brought sexy back. He's a reminder of an era where image triumphed over integrity. Now, with his stardom dimming and backlash mounting, the question looms: can Justin rewrite his narrative, or will his legacy be defined by the missteps he never truly owned?